Good morning. This is Jovita Dominguez, Chair of the ELC Committee, and we should start doing roll call. So how about Mary Fagan?
Can we pause?
Yes.
Pause really quick, please. We need to get Trisha. Okay, she's elevated. If we can get Marianne McCarthy elevated as well. And
I'm
then
here. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. And then is that everybody? And then Vicky has left. Okay, perfect.
Do you see me on camera? Because I turned on my camera, but I don't see myself on.
I do not see you on camera, Jovita.
Yeah, because I turned it on and it is on according to my settings. So that I'm sorry about that problem because it was on earlier.
It's not showing on our WebEx that it's on. Maybe you can check your settings. On the bottom, does it say?
It says the camera. Yeah, it says the camera's on.
Okay, and then do you have like different cameras? Do you have like an integrated camera or a camera that's connected through USB?
No, I do not have any of that. And
look for a button that says start video.
I did press it off and on just to see if it could be restarted, and it's the same one I did this morning. So
we could, Jovita, have you sign out, restart, and rejoin.
And come back.
Okay, I'll do that right now.
She is the chair, so we're going to give a few minutes for us to work through the technical difficulties here to start this meeting.
I'm going to sign out.
Please, thank you.
Oh, never mind. Trisha took her spot. Never mind.
Oh.
I was like,
just shuffling. Nope, just shuffling. She went out. Perfect. Marianne, can you check your camera and see that it is on and working? I just want to make sure that everybody in attendance is up. You're good. Awesome.
Can you hear me?
So it looks, sure can. So it just looks like Jovita. No problem. And so board moderator, I'll let you manage to see when she comes back in.
We need Jeopardy music.
We need something. Do you know how to beat box, Mark? No.
Yeah.
And just for those that are on the line, the voice from the Sacramento public meeting is Matthew Yates. He's our person that is covering in the absence. You guys are used to hearing Macaulay. Macaulay is on vacation, and so Matt has graciously stepped in. So that new voice that you are hearing is Matthew Yates.
Welcome back, Jovita.
Thank you. Now that is
and
very
you're on
weird.
Camera.
Yeah.
Yay.
And I think a few months ago I also had somewhat similar issues, the same computer, and I had it checked and everything's fine, but you never know. Good morning, everybody. My name is Jovita Dominguez, Chair of the Education and Licensing Committee meeting, and I was appointed by Governor Newsom, and we will start roll call. I am here. Mary Fagan.
Mary Fagan's here. I didn't say this earlier, but I am was appointed by Governor Newsom in the Nursing Services Administration role.
And Dolores Trujillo.
Good morning, everyone. This is Dolores Trujillo, and I was appointed by Governor Newsom in the Direct Care Provider role.
And Patricia Nguyen.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Tricia Nguyen. I was appointed by Governor Newsom in the public member role.
Thank you, everyone. And then Lori Melby.
Thank you. I am Lori or Loretta Melby. I'm the board's executive officer appointed by the board. And Reza?
Yes.
Good morning. Reza Pejjuhesh, board counsel with DCA Legal Affairs.
And I believe Dr. Mary Ann McCarthy is on also.
You're muted.
Mary Ann McCarthy, Supervising Nursing Education Consultant, and I'm the liaison to the Education and Licensing Committee. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe we start with public comments. Thank you, BRN moderator.
Can't hear you, Mark, if you're talking.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
If you're talking, Mark, you're not. And then you can also give the format for the committee as well, just because this is a new committee that's separately
Again,
noticed.
yes, 2 meetings
No
in a
problem.
row. So here we go.
Consistency is key here. You're doing
Holy
it.
wow. Yes.
Slipping, Mark.
All right. So we are in a new meeting. Good morning. This is the BRN moderator. I will be moderating the meeting. To facilitate public comment, we will be utilizing the WebEx question and answer feature. When the committee reaches a point in the agenda at which public comment is appropriate, the question and answer feature will be turned on, and members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by inserting the phrase, "I would like to make a comment," in the question box, which is typically in the lower right of your screen. We also have a physical location in Sacramento, and we will query that location if there are any public comments there either. I will then call on the individual and unmute their microphone. The individual will have 2 minutes to make their comments. I will not give a warning as your time approaches. I will mute your microphone and will announce that your time has exceeded the time allotted. I will then proceed to the next member of the public who has a comment. Please note that the question and answer feature is being used only as a means for members of the public to represent that they would like to make a verbal comment. When your turn comes, you will be prompted to unmute. If your question can be answered, the committee will respond accordingly. When making your comment, speak about anything you believe is important for the members to know. Remember, committee members cannot address any item not on the agenda. Items not on the agenda at that moment, items that you would like to add to future meetings, or items that will be discussed later on the agenda will be discussed at their correct times during the meeting. I will provide a brief reminder of this approach at the start of each public comment item. Finally, when committee members or BRN staff are not speaking, I would like to remind them to mute their microphone. If I detect background noise during the meeting as a result of unmuted microphones, I will mute your microphones automatically. All right, here we go. We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for a comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give reminders as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." We have no public requests for comments on the WebEx. Do we have any public requests for comments in Sacramento?
There are no requests for public comment in Sacramento.
Thank you. Committee Chair Dominguez, would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you. So I believe that takes us to 8.3, and let's see, I'm trying to.
Let's do 8.2,
8.2.
which is review and vote for the previous minutes from January.
Oh, thank you very much. I had that and I
No problem.
lost track.
I'm here for you.
I appreciate it. Yes, I reviewed the minutes. Would anybody second? I would approve them if somebody seconds them.
Win will second.
Thank you, Patricia. Therefore, do we take it to public comment and then vote?
Yes, please.
Thank you. BRN moderator, would we take it to public comment, please?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, I would like to make a comment.
There is no request for public comment in Sacramento.
Thank you. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. We also have no public requests for comments in Sacramento. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you. And I believe Dr. McCarthy will take us to 8.3. Am I wrong? Or
You are correct. Thank you so much. Okay, so agenda item 8.3, discussion and possible action regarding whether to recommend ratification of minor curriculum revisions and acknowledge receipt of program progress reports, and whether to recommend ratification of clinical facility approvals or other action. So these are, according to board policy, the nursing education consultants may approve these curriculum changes that do not significantly alter philosophy, objectives, or content. Approvals must be reported to the Education Licensing Committee and to the board. These changes may include curricular changes, work study programs, preceptor programs, public health programs, and a list of schools that have submitted these changes for minor curriculum, clinical agency, and facility approvals, and progress reports have been approved by the nursing education consultants. They're in your materials in a packet as a table listed as the same. These are consent agenda items.
So just real quick, before we move on and complete with 8.3, Jovita, can you do a vote on the meeting minutes? We missed the
I'm so
roll call
sorry.
vote. That's okay.
Jovita,
Lori,
I'm no
thank
help to
you.
you at all. Look at this.
No. You know, I should have been, I'm sorry. I apologize for that problem. My name
That's
is
okay.
Jovita Dominguez, and I vote yes to accept the minutes from January 25th, 2023, and allow the BRN staff to make non-substantial changes to correct names misspelling and or typos that might be discovered in the document. I vote yes. Mary Fagan
Yes.
and Dolores Trujillo,
Yes.
Trisha Wynn.
Yes.
Now,
Motion passes.
thank you so much.
Okay, so these are consent agenda items. These are the lists that are in your materials that the NECs have approved, and it's on to you. Here's a possible motion, or of course, any discussion as needed.
Any board members have any questions or comments on this?
No.
Then do I have a second? I would like to do a motion to recommend to ratify of minor curriculum revisions, clinical agency and facility approvals, and acknowledge receipt of program progress reports. Do I have a second?
Trisha Wynn seconds.
Thank you, Trisha. BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment? And I will remember to vote.
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for a comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, I would like to make a comment. Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, I would like to make a comment.
There is no request for public comment in Sacramento.
Thank you. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. We also have no public requests for comments in Sacramento. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you. I'd like to vote yes. Jovita Dominguez. Mary Fagan.
Mary Fagan, yes.
Dolores Trujillo.
Dolores Trujillo, yes.
Trisha Wynn.
Trisha Wynn, yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you so much. Agenda item 8.4, discussion and possible action regarding whether to recommend approval, acceptance, or other action for approved nursing programs. There are 3 separate sets on the separate list for this consent agenda item. One is continuing approval of pre-licensure nursing programs. The second is continuing approval of advanced practice nurse practitioner nursing programs. And the third is pre-licensure nursing programs who've had some kind of unit adjustment or other changes that have not affected enrollment. So they have no enrollment increase. So the BRN staff have received and reviewed all documents for the programs listed on agenda item 8.4. Information on these requests is on the list provided in your materials packet. These programs have met all board rules and regulations related to their request and are consent agenda items. Thank you.
Any board members have any questions?
No.
Or concerns? I'd like to motion to recommend continuing approval of pre-licensure nursing programs, continuing approval and advanced practice nurse practitioner nursing programs, and pre-licensure programs unit adjustments and other changes, no enrollment increases. Do I have a second?
Wynn,
second.
second.
Does that win?
I did at the same time somebody else did, but yes, I did.
Okay, all right. BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment, please?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment."
There are no requests for public comment in Sacramento.
Thank you. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. We also have no public requests for comments in Sacramento. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, thank you. Jovita Dominguez would like to vote yes. Patricia Wynn?
Wynn, yes.
Dolores Trujillo?
Dolores, yes.
Mary Fagan?
Mary Fagan, yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
So before we move on to 8.5, I would like the committee to consider a request from a school. 8.7 is University of Massachusetts Global Nurse Practitioner Program, and they are on the agenda item for a teach out and closure. They have let us know that they are only available to have any kind of conversation with the board until noon. And so if you guys would consider bumping 8.7 up in front of 8.5, that would be great. If you do not, that is okay. They have written a statement that they asked Marianne McCarthy to read if you guys choose to continue to go in order of the agenda as written.
I'm fine with bringing them up. Anybody have any?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
So we will reorder the agenda and take 8.7 before 8.5. Once we complete agenda item 8.7, we will go back and start 8.5. Thank you.
Thanks so much. So agenda item 8.7 is discussion and possible action regarding acceptance of a substantive change to an approved program, the University of Massachusetts Global Nurse Practitioner Program, Teach Out and Closure. The information on this program can be found starting on page 126 of your packet. Board Moderator, would you please elevate the presenters on your list for the University of Massachusetts Global? UMass Global has made a decision to immediately close admissions to their nurse practitioner program beginning the spring session of 2024. The university's strategic plan, to immediately close in the spring of 2024. The university's strategic plan through 2027 is to create the campus of the future with the goal to serve working adults learning solely online. Their BSN program closed in the fall of 2023. The agenda item summary, the program response is on pages 126 through 130, and these include details about the teach out and closure of the nurse practitioner program. There are program representatives, as Lori mentioned, here to address any questions you may have. Thank you.
So can we hear?
Sure. Patrice, excuse me, are you elevated?
Hello,
Lady?
everybody. It's Patrick Shine, Dean of
hello, Patrick.
Global.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you all? Thank you. I appreciate the
I'm
elevation
so sorry.
agenda.
I see it as Patric, and you're right.
Okay.
Patrick, my apologies.
No worries, I get that a lot. Thank you all so much for your time and for reviewing this agenda. If you've looked at the packet, you have seen kind of the primary reason for the decision that the executive team made in closing the School of Nursing at UMass Global. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them. We followed the format that we did for the closure of our pre-licensure program early last year. And I'm happy to answer any questions for anybody.
I would just like to make a comment, if I may. First, I guess if anybody has any questions that need to be addressed before I make my comment.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm good.
Thank you. So it's important to note that Brown University, or UMass, is in an area that is severely impacted for clinical space, and that is San Diego County. We receive, as a board, many requests to increase enrollment in these clinically impacted areas from various schools. And these are really difficult decisions for the board to make, because we also would like to avoid this very outcome that UMass is facing now, and that's the lack of clinical space. So that now they're having to do this teach out. It was difficult at the time. A couple of years ago, I vehemently fought against a clinical increase from a certain school that had guaranteed clinical space at Sharp Grossmont. And ultimately, the board decided to grant this clinical, student increase, which also demands increased clinical space. And, this school had said, oh, we have confirmed placements at Sharp Grossmont. Well, another school, the dean from that school told us that this now bumped them out of that clinical space. So it's so important, one, that the schools, work with a consortium. And I believe San Diego has a great consortium down there. And after this enrollment increase, the need for clinical space in the San Diego, also in the LA area of Irvine, or Southern California, Irvine, Orange County, has become even more impacted. So I just want to remind the public and our board members that these decisions are very difficult to make. And we are looking at every option around that to avoid having your school face what UMass is now facing, which is a teach out program and closing down. I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you.
Dolores, I don't know if that's this. They said it was because they changed philosophy and they're all going to go to online learning. And I don't think we've had issues brought up with nurse practitioner clinical placement. So I appreciate what you're saying for pre-licensure programs, but I'm not sure that's the case here.
So just for clarification, I'll try to kind of put the pieces together a little bit here. UMass has a pre-licensure program as well. They are currently on a teach out. I think that's probably what Dolores was referring back to. UMass is now here requesting to do a teach out of their nurse practitioner program. Officially, we have not had the type of complaint for nurse practitioner clinicals, only because our board does not approve enrollment increases, et cetera, the way that we do for pre-licensure programs. And so it is not brought in front of the board to say that there are clinical impaction issues, and the board is not requested to approve a specific number for growth. The way that the enrollment increases are done with nurse practitioner programs is they notice us that they increased and we bring it forward to you, and that's it. It's a progress note. It is not an actual consideration where we bring it forward as an agenda item and have a discussion, and it's not robust like this. There is clinical impaction for nurse practitioner programs that is discussed throughout the nurse practitioner academic system widely. They actually pay for their clinical placements. That has not been prohibited, where in pre-licensure programs, we do prohibit pay to play. And so that is the difference there as well. And we do have other nurse practitioner programs that are choosing to leave California to go to an out-of-state model and then reapply to us to have a specific set number of students come into California and complete their clinical experiences here if they are already licensed as an RN, and they go through that approval process where the board approves the out-of-state nurse practitioner program, the track, and the number of students. And that's a table process that gets put forth that was not part of the agenda item this time, but that was an agenda item, I believe, last board meeting. And so there is processes that we address those, but it is a separate way to address it. What we do have in our regulations for nurse practitioner programs is that it is the responsibility of the nurse practitioner program to find all clinical placements for their students. And when our NECs do an evaluation and they find that students are complaining that they've had to find their own clinical placements, we can then hold the nurse practitioner program in a non-compliance for them not facilitating that. That is a common complaint that we do receive with our board, is that the schools are making their students find and secure their own clinical placements. So it's a different conversation for nurse practitioner impacted clinical placements. It is occurring, it has occurred, it is still occurring. But it's not the same level as it is with pre-licensure. In nurse practitioner programs, we defer 100%, almost 100% to the accreditors. All programs are accredited first, then they get approved by us, not vice versa. Where in our pre-licensure programs, we approve them and do not require an accreditation. So it's a different type of review and a different type of involvement at a board level that we have for these various programs. So hopefully that kind of clarifies the differences in board oversight and why we hear some things and don't hear other things related to the way that we approve those and manage those programs.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Lori. I'm Patrick here again. If I can just answer your questions a little bit about this and clarify some things. Thank you, Dolores and Mary, again, for your input. One of the things with our program, we are in teach out for a pre-licensure program. We, however, have, even though we're in teach out, we're doing really strong. You know, we went from a 50% pass rate to most recently 100% pass rate with our graduates. So we feel really good about that and bringing, you know, these students some quality education. The biggest thing with our nurse practitioner program is when I became dean 2 years ago, we changed the focus to create placements for our students in order to be continued compliance with the board. So our students are certainly happy because we have a whole team that helps place them across the nation. A lot of our folks, probably about 75% of our population are students outside of California. And that's why, with the board's enforcement of the CCRs, the university just fiscally looked at it and was unable to find a pathway to continue those placements with our other nurse practitioner and partners across the U.S. And to meet their requirements that they be licensed in California as well as other things. And apparently the team did look at a bunch of different options, and the executive team made the decision that we would teach out the program.
So to provide the board additional information on that, in 2019, there was updated regulation in, I believe it's 1484. And when 1484 was implemented, that required the Board of Nursing to now approve all nurse practitioner programs. Prior to that, it was an optional approval, and the board did not approve nurse practitioner programs as a requirement for operating in the state of California. And so once that was updated, that was a process that needed to be implemented, and our NECs have gone through and have just meticulously reviewed the programs that we're currently operating and running in California and bringing them into compliance with the new regulatory updates, including 1484. As we get with each one of these programs, sometimes those updated requirements in 1484 are things that they cannot financially manage, or it's not part of their strategic plan to do that. Those being what he mentioned, that if you are practicing as an RN in the state of California, you must be licensed as an RN in the state of California, or NP for this. And so in order to be an NP practicing in California, you must be licensed as an RN, licensed as an NP, et cetera. And with this academic institution being based out of California, everybody that they employ to serve in a nursing role must be licensed as an RN in California. And so with them going and taking the more national approach, that would mean that because their campus location is here and it's a California-based school and it's not located in other states, that their employees that are required to do nursing practice of any sort must have an RN-based, a California-based RN or NP licensure. And that becomes problematic for some. We are looking at this from an executive standpoint. I have had some conversations with our chief of licensing, as well as our nursing education consultants and our chief of ledge, to see if we would like to pursue any type of regulatory change. And that is on our table to be looked at and discussed. Again, we can't change kind of statutory law, and there is the statutory law that says if you're practicing as an RN in California and you're hired as an RN in California to work, you must be licensed as an RN. And so those are some of the things that we're kind of going up against to see how we can address this, as we know that post-licensure education is going to be more of an online kind of process moving forward, especially with everything that we've seen post-COVID.
Any other questions from the board?
No.
All right. I appreciate Patrick speaking on behalf of the college, and I would like to make a motion to recommend acceptance of the substantive change requested by an approved program to teach out and closure of University of Massachusetts Global Nurse Practitioner Program. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Dolores.
You need to say the word approve.
Oh, motion to approve?
requested by an approved program and approve teach out and closure for University of Massachusetts Global Nurse Practitioner Program.
And
Thank
then
you.
since we're going to approve it, we're also going to, well, you have the option to add the rest of it. The teach out
This
closes admission to the program.
Yes, this teach out closes admissions to the nurse practitioner programs and has projected to end date April 26, 2026. Would that suffice as the motion?
Yes, and I'll explain why this is a recommendation to approve, because you guys as the committee is recommending the board to approve this. And that's why when it does go to the board, you guys would, as a board, typically say, I make a motion that we accept all the recommendations from the ELC committee. And then we get a second and then we vote on that. So that is why these motions are sometimes different than what you're used to seeing. And so this is a recommendation to approve, or they do not recommend to approve, or we recommend to not approve, because you guys as a committee is recommending your motion for the board to take into consideration.
Thank you, Lori. And then I believe Dolores second. Is that still applicable?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. May we take it to public comment, BRN moderator? Thank you.
We will be opening for public comment now. Sorry, hold on here. There we go. We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, I would like to make a comment. Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, I would like to make a comment.
There is no request for public comment in Sacramento.
Thank you. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. We have no public requests for comments in Sacramento. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to take it to vote. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. Mary Fagan?
Mary Fagan, yes.
Dolores Trujillo?
Dolores Trujillo, yes.
And Tricia Nguyen?
Nguyen, yes.
Motion carries. Marianne, is there any other agendas that need to be moved up, or should we start at 8.5?
Yes, I think we're going to go back to 8.5. No one else has made any requests. Thank you.
Thank you.
So agenda item 8.5, and thank you, by the way, for allowing UMass to move up to fit their time schedule today on other issues other things they have going on. 8.5, discussion and possible action regarding whether to recommend continuing approval or other action for an approved nursing program. So this is Copper Mountain Associate Degree Nursing Program, and their information starts in your packet on page 57. Board Moderator, will you please elevate the presenters on the list for Copper Mountain? Copper Mountain College Associate Degree Nursing Program had a routinely planned continuing approval visit in December of 23. Copper Mountain College was found to be in noncompliance with 2 BRN pre-licensure regulations, CCR 1424, Administration and Organization of the Nursing Program, and CCR 1425, Faculty Qualifications. Within these 2 regulations, the program was found to be in noncompliance with 5 related subsections. There is a table on page 57 and 58 of your packet that shows the progress to date. So since December, Copper Mountain has been working on these non-compliances toward compliance, but are not yet in full compliance. So they are here with progress and not yet in full compliance. Their summary is on pages 59 through 64, and that also includes more details. And members, program reps are here to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from the committee?
Yeah, I have a question. Could you tell us, Mary Ann, do you feel like there's adequate progress and the school is on track to come into full compliance, or do you see, them dragging their heels at some, is there anything that's kind of causing you alarm?
No,
with the
not at all.
progress
They
they're
just
making?
had theirs in December of 23. They did all their preparation. The NEC did their full visit, gave all the findings to Copper Mountain. And so since it's only April, a lot of times it takes more than
Okay.
that amount of time, but we need to bring them forward as soon as we have them completed, just so you know, but they will
Yeah.
continue. And as you know, we continue to let them, even on deferred status, that's the whole point, to let them come into compliance. So yes, I'm pretty happy with where they are. And Heidi, did you want to add anything to that?
And Mary, I just want to say thank you. That's helpful for me to hear that.
Oh
So
yeah,
thank
no
you for
problem.
that.
Of course,
Thank you for that
anytime.
response. Yeah.
Right. No, I appreciate that, Mary. I really am thankful just to be here, and we are really working on improving the program and overall just the progress that we've been making. I'm very grateful to Donna Ship for being there and helping to guide us. I have been the assistant program director for now 3.5 years. And so I was very fortunate that I was able to have that knowledge base to be able to step up. And I've been with Copper Mountain College since 1999. And so as a faculty member, and that has definitely assisted, with this role. So we are definitely making headway. Is just as you stated, going to take a little time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then Tricia, just for some additional clarification for other stakeholders and stuff on the call to explain kind of this process a bit further, is when our nursing education consultants go out and do a continuing approval visit, they're looking to ensure that they're in compliance with all of our statutes and our regulations that are underneath that. If they're in full compliance, they're put on the consent agenda item for approval, and the board just kind of takes it through, approves them, and they go until their next scheduled visit. If they are in non-compliance, that is when they have to come back to our board so that we can, one, establish that they're in non-compliance. And then because the board does not want to necessarily address their approval status at that point, they will defer taking any action on the approval status to allow them time to address those non-compliances. And so 16 CCR 1423.2 says that upon presenting evidence of non-compliance with Article 3 and lack of demonstrated corrective actions to remove non-compliance, the board may take actions to deny approval, revoke approval, place a program on warning status, or revoke the approval when they've been on warning status for a year and they fail to show any substantive changes. So part of that process of establishing a non-compliance also gives them clear guidance on how to clear that non-compliance with a specific timeline, which falls under B, where it says the board shall provide specific requirements for correction of non-compliance findings and a return date for the review of the program's approval status. And so that is why the additional possible action on the bottom talks about quarterly reports to the NEC and then a return date to the board. So now that this is established, they have that year to go ahead and clear that non-compliance. They come back in front of the board in a year. If they've cleared it at any time, the board will vote to continue their approval status and there's no further issue. If within that year point, if the school says, we're making progress, they're letting that know with the NEC can bring them back and forward and ask for an extension and say, we see the progress that they're doing it. They're doing a great job. It's just, we're running into like these hiring issues, or we implemented a new curriculum. We're not going to see the NCLEX results to that until 2 years from now or whatever. And so they ask for the board then to give them an extension. If we run into a program, and not saying that this is the program at all that would do this, that we put them in a non-compliance, we give them the directions to do the progress reports, we tell them to come back in a year, and they do not do it, then that timeline is established and it lets us follow the process outlined in 1423.2, which would then be to deny the approval if they're showing that they're not demonstrating any corrective actions, or put them on a warning status at that point with an intent to remove their program approval if they don't show another attempt at approving this for an additional year. And so that's how that process is kind of all laid out in regs. And that is why they come forward when they're not completely cleared or ready, so that the non-compliances can be established, that a clear guidance is given in a timeline so that they know what is expected of them to come back and that everything is clear and in board motion.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question.
We have full faith in you.
Thank you.
I just have one question.
Go ahead, Dolores.
So you were in the AIS, it says that you had a high turnover rate of faculty that was 35% previously.
Right.
How are you now as far as hiring faculty, where you're at as far as that high percentage is?
We are coming on. We have now actually 4 full-time faculty. I noticed that it's listed on the resolution as 3, but we do have 4 part-time faculty that are just half of them basically are already through onboarding or completely onboarded and have began. We do have 2 full-time positions that are posted and 1 faculty member that is interested in the full-time position. So those basically the positions should all be in place and working as faculty for the program by fall. And so that's the plan. And also to have a larger float pool in general. So that's what we need, you know.
Yeah.
Yes. And so we are moving along pretty well with the faculty. And we do also have an assistant director that's in place. She's on maternity leave, but we do have an assistant director.
Was there any single reason why you experienced that high turnover rate? It says hired within the last year. So I'm just kind of curious if there was a single denominator that contributed to your high turnover rate at that time.
You know, what I had observed had to do, it seemed like after COVID, and not that that's, you know, a reason for everything, but that some of the turnover rate began at that time. And also I think as we lost certain faculty, even if it was 1 or 2 faculty, that extra, you know, not just strain, but that extra movement, if you're a new faculty member and trying to cover new courses, just can be more difficult. And if someone's not completely committed to transitioning to teaching, that can be very difficult. You know, so if it's a full-time person, I think that's like, they're very vested and they are willing to make that. But if it's a part-time, you know, individual, it was more difficult. So, and some of that goes too with just, we're a very rural community. And prior to this, when someone began, you know, working with us, they stayed for a long time. And once we lost some of our, you know, we had some that had retired. Actually, we had lost 2 probably in the last 5 years to retirement. We also live close to a military base. So we do have some that transition more frequently in and out, but that was more rare. But some of those are the situations, just nurses that maybe were part-time positions or even full-time that retired or moved. So.
Probably too, you were a smaller school, so even the loss of 1 or 2 can probably shoot that percentage up quite a bit.
Yes, it changes. It just creates a whole different balance. Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks. It also makes us a little more resourceful though, too. I think sometimes that's, you know, that we, yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you.
Any other members have questions? I'd like to recommend deferring taking action on the continuing approval status for Copper Mountain College Associate Degree Nursing Program while they work out to clear the areas of non-compliance. I recommend quarterly reports to the NEC and return to ELC board in 1 year, maybe April or May of 2025. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Is that Dolores?
Yes.
Thank you. BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment, please?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment."
We have no requests for public comment in Sacramento.
Thank you. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. We have no public requests for comments in Sacramento. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. Mary Fagan,
Mary Fagan, yes.
Dolores Trujillo,
Dolores Trujillo, yes.
Trisha Wynn.
Win, yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you very
We have a-
much.
Before we move on to the 8.6 agenda items, 8.6 and 8.8 are all kind of enrollment growth kind of decisions. They tend to be quite lengthy. We are coming up across about noon. Is there consideration for board staff and board members to take a lunch breaks before we embark on that? Or do you guys have a plan to kind of take the first couple and then maybe break? Just trying to kind of manage the needs of staff as well.
I'm good with the lunch break. How about the other members?
Sure. It doesn't make sense to go into a couple and then break. So we
All
can
right.
start.
Lori, do you have a suggestion when to come back?
I know that DCA, BRN, Sacramento area, we're kind of a little bit displaced right now, running kind of back and forth. There is some building issues up there. And so 45 minutes at minimum would be appreciated, if not a full hour. That does allow for people to get an adequate break and come back and resettle to start up again.
We're pretty close to 12. Should we say 1 or 10 till?
Yeah.
1 o'clock sounds great.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. Then we will be going to lunch and we will resume at 1 p.m.
And with
you.
agenda item 8.6.
Yes. Thank you, Lori, with agenda item 8.6. Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy your lunch. So we'll do a quick roll call to establish quorum. My name is Dolores Trujillo. I'm present. Mary Fagan.
Present.
Trisha Wynn.
Present?
And for now, we know he'll be just trying. So we have Mary Ann McCarthy on the line. Reza Pejuhesh.
And don't forget
This
Lori.
here. Sorry.
And Loretta Melby. Yeah.
I'm here as well. And we did hear from Sacramento, so they are up and
Yes.
running as well. Thank you.
Okay.
So with your permission, Madam Chair, we'll move on to 8.6.1.
Thank you.
All right. Discussion and possible action regarding acceptance of a substantive change to an approved program. This is Samuel Merritt University Baccalaureate Degree Program. This is their feasibility for an alternate campus in Fresno. The information on this program can be found starting on page 66 of the packet. And board moderator, if you would please elevate the presenters on the list for Samuel Merritt. Okay, so in January of 24, just this year, Samuel Merritt University requested an alternate campus in Fresno, California. The Education and Licensing Committee asked the program to communicate with local programs and the consortium in Fresno, California, and return to the ELC whenever they had completed those requests. Since January, Samuel Merritt has engaged in multiple meetings with the Central San Joaquin Valley Clinical Education Collaborative and are currently participating in joint clinical placement processes. They are back to the ELC today with their request moving forward in Fresno. The agenda item summary starting on page 66 of your packet, the data that we always provide whenever there's any kind of enrollment change, new program or enrollment increase is, and the program's responses are listed starting on page 70. And I'm sorry, that's the response on page 70, but the data for Region 6, which is Fresno, is on page 69. And this shows the growth in the region for the past 5 years in that Fresno area in Region 6. The program representatives are here should you have any questions. Thank you.
And then on the board's website, under the Education Licensing Committee meeting material section, there was an addition for supplemental materials added to this agenda item 8.6.1. It was a letter that was received by the director of the Central California Center for Excellence in Nursing, as well as the director of Health Careers, director of nursing for Lemoore College. And so if the board would like to refer to that and take a look at it, they can. Those were the members that did present in public comment the last time they were here and asked for the board to consider having Samuel Merritt reach out and work with them. And so this is the letter that they have provided for the board to review to show that Samuel Merritt did in fact do all that they said that they would do.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Lori. Any other questions? Any questions from the board members? Committee members, I'm sorry.
Dolores, before we move on, if we can do an audio check on Jovita. I do see she's back on visual.
Great.
Maybe third or fourth time is a charm. Do you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. I do want to say thank you to Samuel Merritt for actually going to the consortium, and it looked like they had got their clinical sites on not so great of, I'm speaking from a student standpoint, weekends and nights, but I do appreciate that effort. Thank you.
And I have just a quick question about, would you consider this a highly impacted area, this kind of Central Valley, Fresno, Bakersfield? And it's region, did you say it's Region 6, Marianne?
It is Region 6.
And Fresno are together, even though there is quite a large geographical space in between the two?
Correct. And Lori, do you want to speak to the data for that area? Because we've seen a lot of growth recently. There's been a lot of people coming into the Central Valley area. But I don't know that we have any parameters about when we reach.
Yeah, it was hard to get context from the numbers. Of course, I appreciate the numbers very much, but it's hard to, to really fully understand.
Sure.
So at this point, per the prior public comment that we did receive, they had mentioned that they are not yet clinically impacted. And that is why they asked for them to work with them through the consortium. And then in the letter that was submitted, it showed that they did all that they had been asked to do. So at this point, although we are approving growth in that area, new programs are starting up in that area, enrollments have increased in that area, we have not heard the public outcry saying that they are losing a bunch of sites, that their students are not able to progress and graduate because of new schools coming in. And so that is truly how the board kind of determines that impact, right? And so that impaction comes from those reports that we hear where on a yearly basis, our nursing programs all respond to a survey that is put out through UCSF, and they tell us what their enrollments are, what their projected enrollments are. They additionally tell them if they've lost clinical sites and what the reasons for those sites losses are, et cetera. And so at this point, we are not receiving the same reports in that Fresno area that we do when we receive the reports from Orange County, LA, Irvine, San Diego area. It's a different process there so far.
Thank you.
I feel like we are in the past year and a half, we're noticing, yes, what Lori said, more schools are opening up. It seems like that wave of students and schools opening and enrollment increases are somewhat traveling up the valley through Fresno. It hasn't really hit too much in Northern California yet, but I think at some point it probably will.
I mean, we are seeing vast amounts of growth in California as we want to see. That's absolutely something that we've been really aiming for, and the board has been working really diligently on. Previously, in one of the reports, it showed that California was at 7.7 RNs per 1,000 population, and that was seen as a really, really low mark, and that California was one of the worst. When you look at updated data from California on those reports, we've moved up, I believe now, to 8.34 versus 7.7. So that's 8.34 per 1,000. And when you look at our population, that's an increase of over 20,000 nurses. Mm-hmm. And that is after COVID, and that is after the exodus, right? So we are still in increase in nursing, and we're continuing to do that. So we have moved from being one of the states with the highest amount of nursing shortage, coming in at 7.7, to now making our way towards, and we're only going to see this improve as projected through UCSF survey, that we should meet the needs of California by 2029 and start to exceed that with the enrollment growth that BRN has approved over the last few years. And so when we started our approvals back in 2021, we saw a large jump. And in 2022, we saw another large jump. Those graduates will be hitting workforce this year. So definitely doing good. That is why we're seeing the changes. That is why the schools are kind of growing and expanding and doing all of that, is to answer that need. Understanding, again, our board cannot take that workforce data into consideration for the decision here, because that is what is outlined in our statute, that we cannot consider workforce. But this school is in good standing. They have met the requirements. It was brought forth last meeting. They did what the board asked them to do, and then we did receive the letter as well. So thank you.
Lori, is there a target for the number of nurses per capita that, no, it wouldn't weigh into this decision or decisions about enrollment, but just for...
There hasn't been one that has been consistently stated from report to report to report. A lot of them show that they consider states with a 10 to 1,000 ratio as something that would minimally meet. That is where the majority of our states do kind of live. Is in that 10. We do have some that go up to 11, and we go as far as like South Dakota, that's sitting at 15.78 nurses per 1,000. So I think a first tier goal would be get us at the 10 to 1,000. That would be something that I think the board could consider. And I think it really just looks at keeping an open mind to seeing what the needs of the population are and what different studies come out in the future, because we went from 7.7, I believe, in 2017 to, even with the exodus and stuff, being at 8.34 today. And so we've consistently grown, and I think it will still take us a while to grow, but the needs of our population are going to change, and those numbers will be updated constantly. So it's never going to be a solid number.
Thank you. I do want to also applaud Samuel Merritt for following through on what we asked, and really, especially getting that nice letter is really helpful for me in making my decision.
Any other members would like to make have any questions or comments? All right, I'd like to take a motion to recommend the the acceptance of the substantive change requested by an approved program and approve feasibility for the secondary site alternative campus in Fresno, California for Samuel Merritt University with an enrollment of 48 students twice a year, total of 96 annually. Do I have a second?
I'll second that. It's Mary.
Mary Fagan, thank you very much. BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment? Thank you.
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment.
As we're awaiting requests for public comment, I just want to remind board members and stakeholders on the call that this does approve the school to go forward with this new campus location, and that the next step is they still have to get a self-study submitted and reviewed and then brought back and forth in front of the board for official approval. That self-study then shows that the school is in compliance with all rules and regulations that have been established by the board, and that it is then now available to enroll and admit students into. So there still is one additional process that has to continue prior to them admitting students, but this does let them know that this location is approved by the board, and they can now start investing the time and money and getting everything going and lined up.
I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Marie Gilbert would like to make a comment. 1 second, please.
Good afternoon. My name's Marie Gilbert. I'm the director of the Central California Center for Excellence in Nursing. As Mary stated in January, Samuel Merritt requested the alternate campus in Fresno, and we really appreciate that at that time the EOC asked them to come back to the local institution. Following the meeting, Dr. Stephen Rush, the Dean of the College of Nursing, reached out immediately. On February the 14th, Dr. Rush and Dr. Jeanette Wang, who is the Associate Dean, hosted a meeting for leadership within our local nursing programs. Samuel Merritt has also attended all of our monthly academic partnership meetings and provided ongoing updates regarding their clinical placement. And to address Patricia Wynn's comment, the Central Valley does share similar issues as other regions, and I want to recognize that student impaction and displacement is a concern. And using the BRN numbers, our 4-county region, which is clinical sites are Fresno, Madera, Tulare, and Kings, in the last 2 years, we've had enrollment increases of 50%. A lot of that is coming from new schools coming to the area, Unitech being the other school. But as Samuel Merritt and Unitech have been very collaborative and transparent and engaged. So we all know forecasting clinical placement capacity is an exact science, but Samuel Merritt has demonstrated a commitment to creating a predictive schedule and are collaborating closely with the local nursing programs. At the last proposal, we also had a concern about it appeared that they were going to recruit students from out of the area, but they have, we've discussed that with them and they've made it clear to us, and it's been addressed in the documentation submitted by Dr. Rush, that all enrollment and marketing efforts will be focused in the Fresno area. Again, we know that students that train in their local area are likely to stay. So really, to summarize, since the last meeting, Dr. Rush and Dr. Wang have been very responsive and collegial. Is that their collaboration and transparency will continue, and the Central Valley can continue on working collaboratively to ensure non-displacement equity and quality clinical experience for all our students. Our newer programs are definitely taking more innovative approaches to their clinical education. So I think that is helping. And that was one of the reasons we asked ELC to have them communicate with us so that we can work with them. So thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Catherine DeFeed would like to make a comment. 1 second, please. Catherine? Catherine, are you not able to unmute yourself?
Now you can hear me, correct?
There you go. Thank you.
Awesome. Yes, I couldn't unmute it for some reason. I just wanted mirror, of course, what Dr. Marie Gilbert just shared. That is exactly the way this has all gone. But I want to also thank the board for trusting our process and having Samuel Merritt come back and join us. It's been a very collaborative effort. And we do have some displacements. We do have some challenges. We tend to work those out. But the whole process for us, as we have new schools, as we have enrollment increases, is being able to utilize this collaborative coalition that we have going to hopefully avoid displacing schools and putting people in very difficult predicaments. We're really looking out for even our allied health programs and all of that through this process. So it's really important that we are allowed to do this as we continue to grow. We know there's going to be more demand. And we do appreciate it. And Samuel Merritt has been a very active partner with us. We learn something new from every program that we invite into the area. So we appreciate the opportunity and appreciate the board working with us on all of these challenges that we face. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no more public requests for comments on the WebEx. Do we have any public requests for comments in Sacramento?
There are no requests for public comment in Sacramento.
Thank you. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you.
I'm just wondering if I could make just a couple comments. This is Dean Rush from Samuel Merritt.
Please.
Thank you so much. Well, first of all, just a huge thanks to all of you on the committee, but also to Dr. Gilbert and folks with the consortium. It really has been an incredible learning experience. Earlier, committee member Trujillo mentioned this is the way it should be done, you know, in reference to another school in San Diego, of course, but to work with a consortium. And it's really been just a wonderful experience. So thank you for that, allowing us to come back and show you that we've done the work, and we have done the work, and we're quite happy about that. I did have a question about the self-study. Lori, I think you just mentioned, or maybe it was Marianne. That was my understanding that we had done that, but then the process changed. So is it going to be a revision of that? Because we've had our site visit, we've had all of that. And if so, is that something that we just supply to you, Marianne, and Kim as our NEC, or what's the process for that?
It would be supplied to your NEC.
Okay.
And I don't know if a revision is needed. It might actually be everything good as you submitted it. It just now needs to be brought in front of the board. And so you would see a future agenda item that would have your name just like it is today, and it would say acceptance of self-study.
And that would go to the full board or to this committee?
It could go just to the board. These committees are here for just ease of process, but not a requirement. And so it could go for full board and bypass this, but if we stay consistent, it would go to this committee and then to the full board. But we can discuss that offline on process once I meet with the NEC and the supervising NEC to see where they're at on the review of your self-study.
Okay, that makes sense. I was
As
just
always,
curious
Mike,
about-
as always, we're going to work with you, Stephen. We'll
Oh,
get
yeah.
it moved forward as soon as we can. And I know that this process changed in January.
That's
You know,
right.
that was when the law came out, and you guys were like in the middle. So it kind of was like, we're here, but now we're feasibility and self-study. So there's been a lot of overlap, and we will definitely work with you to go through that.
Yeah,
Kim and I have discussed that.
and I trust fully we will work together, Marianne. And I saw
Absolutely.
in Kim Knight's letter to this committee saying we are the first school that is a part of the new process. So we'll work with you, just trying to figure out timeline. Our goal was to admit students sometime August. So I think we can still make that time considering it's only April. So thank you again. Just really
We'll do our best.
Yeah.
To set expectations, Stephen, if we're able to get it on the May board meeting, you would be able to do that. If we're not able to get it on the May board meeting, it would not go forward to the next board meeting, which is not scheduled until August. So you have to receive this approval prior to starting. So worst case scenario, you would be able to enroll right after August board meeting. Best case scenario is we can get you one in May, but I have to know where they're at in the review process. And that is a conversation that has to be with your NEC and the supervising NEC before we can determine whether or not you'll be on the May board meeting or not.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I'd like to take it to a vote. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. Mary Fagan,
Mary Fagan, yes.
Dolores Trujillo,
Dolores Trujillo, yes.
Trisha Wynn.
Wynn, yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item 8.6.2. This is the discussion and possible action regarding the acceptance of a substantive change to an approved program. This is Marcia First School of Nursing, Associate Degree Nursing Program. They are also wanting to start another campus in Citrus Heights. So this is their feasibility study working towards another campus. Information for this program can be found, actually it was added a little bit later, so it's a separate document on the website. You'll see it'll say 8.6.2, and that will be for Martha First. Board moderator, if you could please elevate presenters on the list for Martha First. So Martha First has 5 locations for their pre-licensure associate degree nursing programs. In Glendale, they were approved in 2016. In San Diego, they were approved in 2019. In Bakersfield, they were approved in 2021. West Covina was approved in 2022. Riverside was approved in 2023. And each of those sites admits 45 students 3 times a year for a total of 675 students per year. With the proposed addition of this site and the enrollment increase, they would enroll a combined 270 students 3 times a year with an enrollment per year of 810 students. Currently, only the Glendale, San Diego, and Bakersfield campuses have graduation data. So the other ones have not yet had enough time to get a full class through the entire program. They are in this site at Citrus Heights is in Region 1. And so the agenda item summary, the data sheet with the growth in that area and the program response is between pages 87 to 91 in your packet. And the program representatives are here, of course, should you have any questions. Thank you.
I missed on review, and I'll apologize to the board for that. When I review materials before they go in front of the board, I typically check to make sure that all the information that is required is included in the AIS and or the executive summary. And this one came in kind of late and had to be kind of reworked. And so it did not go through that same review process that I would typically give it. And I apologize for that. The information that is missing from this AIS that I'm hoping that we can gain from the clinic, from the program representatives here is a specific section off of the EDP I-01, which is the form that is referenced in regs for us to follow for new campus feasibility. And it says, note, clinical placements of the new program must take into consideration the impact on the use of the clinical facilities by existing pre-licensure registered nursing programs and must be coordinated with any process for clinical placements. They did include in the AIS that they have contracts. They did include that they are planning to work with consortiums, but the data that is in this executive summary or the AIS is missing the information that says they must take into consideration the impact on the use of clinical facilities by existing pre-licensure RN programs. I failed to catch that and flip that back to the NEC and supervising NEC to have inputted. And so this was not a complete AIS, and I just noticed that now. And so hopefully the program representatives can answer that so that the board can continue to consider this. But this was not a complete item, and as it sits, probably should not have been brought forth to the board for consideration because it doesn't meet all the requirements set forth in the law. And I apologize for that.
Gloria, did you want to speak to that?
Yes, I can speak to that. We got caught also with that new law. So we went back and forth. What we went for was the old law, which is the EDP 18s, which is actually meeting with the people and getting a commitment from them, from the different hospitals, that we weren't impacting anybody. The EDP 01 is a promise. The other one, EDP 02, what is this? Yeah, the EDP 01, I'm right. So EDP 01 is a promise. The EDP 18 is a actual agreement. So when speaking with Donna, we did it like that part of it the old way. So we're one step ahead of not with the other one. So that's what we discussed, Donna and I, and we thought we would bring that forward because we actually got the EDP 18s plus contracts, but this was a multiple thing.
I'll provide some clarification to that. We cannot mix laws. And so I understand that you got the EDPP 18s. This updated law was put into effect January 1 of 2023 as an update to 16 CCR 1432. And it referenced this new form for use of all feasibility and self-studies for new campus locations, as well as new programs. And so when this law is updated in place, this is the law that has to be followed. We cannot mix. The other thing that you're suggesting is that you got the contracts in the EDP 18s with the facilities. And I appreciate that, and that's fantastic. That does not answer this question. That is a requirement of completing the feasibility study that needs to be done before it can be turned in and approved and considered by the board. And that is the section on the very bottom of page 2 of the EDP I-01. That form is available for people to look at on our website as well under new program and campus. And it says, note, clinical placements of the new program must take into consideration the impact on the use of the clinical facility by existing pre-licensure registered nursing programs. You will be a new program in this area and must be coordinated with any process for clinical placement. So we need to know what you guys have done to work with the clinical, not the clinical phys, but the academic institutions that will be affected. And when you guys mentioned in your report, you mentioned that there are other programs in this area. Yes. And so we would just need, if you have it, what you've done to work with them.
Yeah, I do have two things that we've done, which was we did it's called the Site Regional Planning Grid group. They invited us to it on, I believe, what date was I going? March 18th, that's right. It was March 18th. We went to that and we met and we had to sit among all the schools and decide what we could have and what they had open. They were very clear with us if they could not give us any kind of clinicals. I have to say, they were very clear. There was many places we went to and they said no. So we had to keep working at it. We've been working at this for quite a while now. The second one was the clinical relations manager has invited us now to the nursing consortium in Sacramento, because I guess this is considered Sacramento, where we have been invited to attend and discuss all the things about our program. They didn't have a meeting recently, so we haven't been able to get into that, but they have invited us, and I have the letter from them that I'm invited. So we have done those two things. And then there was lots of discussion, obviously, you know, Lori, with the EDP 18s, there was lots of discussion. And I think we could really meet a need in this area. We looked at the areas that were the most impacted or not impacted, and that's where we ended up in Citrus Heights. We knew we couldn't go to any of the other places right now. So that's what we've done thus far. And we've been working on this a long time. Yeah.
I understand that you've been working on this a long time. So are you saying that so on your page 3 of the AIS, it says applicant pool and sustainability of enrollment. The program reports 10 nursing schools in the greater Sacramento area within a 50-mile radius of Citrus Heights. Have you had any kind of contact or coordination with those 10 nursing schools that were identified?
No, not all of them. It was just the ones that were at this meeting that I went to on the March 18th. So those are the ones that I talked to. We were waiting to go into the consortium, but they haven't had a meeting. So we're waiting on this right now. Yeah.
Reza, I do have a question for you, and maybe you have an answer or not. Previously, when we had a feasibility brought forth in the Murrieta area, it was noted that on review of the materials during the board meeting, that they did not have an agreement with at least one acute care hospital site, and that was something that was required by law. And so the board held them and had them come back when that was established. And it was established, I think, before the next meeting, and they went forward and they got approval. Since this is a requirement in law and it was missed, that they have to show what work they have done with the existing schools, would that be the same process here where we would hold this, and if they can have that data to us by board, that we can pull this out and hear this next month for consideration? Or what are your thoughts?
I was thinking something kind of along the lines of either, you know, a conditional motion or something, or maybe you don't even need a motion, but yeah, if it's resolved by the time of board, then just going straight to the board meeting. Hopefully that's, I mean, possibly just as efficient as if a motion was made on it today.
Yeah, it would not delay the process at all if they could have that data to us by the board meeting.
That would be great. We'd appreciate that a lot. I really would. So we can get working on that immediately.
Okay, so just for clarity, we can't approve this without that information, but the school is here. You guys have the information. If there are any other questions that you need or want to ask at this point, definitely please consider to do that and move forward. I missed this and I apologize.
Don't worry about it. We'll get it done.
Yes. It's Tricia. I have a question. I think for Gloria. Thank you for that information. When I reviewed this application, I was surprised at how expensive the program was, how high the attrition rate was, and how low the NCLEX scores were relative to other schools that we see. And I just wondered if maybe you could comment on that.
Well, yeah. So our attrition rate is 16%, which is, we have retention of 83 something. I don't have it right sitting in front of me. We have pretty good. We really take and allow students to get a chance to come in and try. And I mean, we really haven't changed our tuition since 5 years, probably. I haven't seen it really change. It's been the same for all of our campuses. They have kept that price down. I mean, it's expensive to run the program, but then our pass rates, I don't know why you're saying they're low, because they're good. 95.65, 90.6. And our new campus that just had their first group of graduates, Bakersfield, had an 85. So we came out with an overall pass rate of 90.67. So that's pretty good for brand new schools. that opened. The ones that are more stable, which we just started, which in the beginning is Glendale, which was 95.65, and San Diego, which was 90.6. So we're doing very well in NCLEX. So I don't understand what
I
that
can also give you a little background on NCLEX stuff, Tricia, on this one. San Diego campus, that was a program that they inherited, and I'll explain that a little bit more. GCC, or Marcia First at this point, was just located in Glendale. And Brightwood College was a nursing program in San Diego. They abruptly shut their doors with 180 students still currently enrolled. GCC stepped up, came down to San Diego, picked up their faculty and all of the students except for 2 who chose not to go on, not because they weren't accepted. They pulled over the faculty, they retained their clinical placements, they continued to teach out the current students, and then they updated their curriculum and process. And Brightwood, to be completely honest, was not doing well performance-wise. Their attrition was not well, the NCLEX was not well, and they were in fact ready to be brought forward by our board for a potential warning with intent to remove program approval because of the areas of noncompliance that were addressed. So that applicant pool that they started off with in San Diego was a difficult kind of step in and correct. There was some students in that were, I think, 10 weeks from graduation that were completely educated by the other school, and 10 weeks from graduation, that school closed. So taking that into consideration when you're looking at these NCLEX data, it's good. What I think stands out the most here is that they have since grew to Bakersfield. They have since grew into West Covina and to Riverside, and we don't have annual NCLEX data for those. Additionally, and Dolores had brought up about school growth that had impacted in San Diego, and that was the approval of this one. So this program was the one that was approved because of the contracts that they had received from their clinical site. And that was Sharp Grossmont. And then we heard after that approval the impact that this growth had onto the San Diego area. And so that again is one of the reasons why I really want to make sure that we follow the letter of the law on this one with the updated EDP IO1 process that shows that they have reached out to the various nursing programs in that area and are working on a collaboration for that, to ensure that that type of displacement does not occur again in the future. I don't know that that's anything that this program could have predicted would have occurred because they did contract with that facility and that facility told them that it was not going to impact. And so I don't think that it was malicious or anything at that point. And that's why with the update of this regulatory process, it does require this to be done so that we don't run into those kind of issues in the future. So,
and Loretta, can I add one thing to that too? Because I figured it was us you were talking about when they said that before. So I went back into all my emails. I was like, wait a minute, I know I resolved this because you actually sent Samantha to me. And we had 2 or 3 meetings and we pulled out. I pulled out when I saw that there was one that was displaced. I said, take it. We'll go somewhere else. I'm not doing it. So we really resolved it. I think she felt good. We felt good. I got a really nice letter. Yeah. So I will not do that. I think, you know, I've been with you guys 17 years now. So as soon as she showed me what it was, I said, we're out, and we pulled out. And so
we have, and we appreciate on that, Gloria. Yeah, that actually, it did happen during a board meeting where Samantha kind of came in and talked, and I said, Gloria, are you willing to have a conversation? She did it and followed through. And that's again why this was my miss, and I apologize that we didn't get that continued for here. But I do have full expectation that Gloria, you'll be able to provide that data by board.
Thank you. Thank you, Loretta. I appreciate it.
Trish, are you speaking of the attrition rate for 2022, 2023? Because I see here 20.7. Is that what you were speaking about when you mentioned to Gloria about the
Yeah,
attrition rates?
20.7. I mean, we don't see
Yeah.
very many schools that come in with an attrition rate like that.
Yeah, so let me talk a little bit about that to maybe make you feel a little bit more at ease.
Thank
You know,
you.
we take in students of all, you know, we have a lower GPA that we ask for. We work with just that 60 Ts. You know, I know a lot of the community colleges have all raised their numbers up higher now, but we try to give everybody a chance. And a lot of that does work out. You know, we work very hard with them with tutoring and having extra class things for them, anything that we could do to make them successful. But they come in with a lot. They come in with, Bakersfield, for example, is a great. Some of those kids had like 5 children at home. Their neighbors were helping to watch the kids. They've always wanted to be a nurse, and we graduated them. So I feel sort of good about that. I'm like, you know what? We are changing people's lives, you know? It may be a little bit at a time, but we're really doing, I think, a good service for the community. And they all live in Bakersfield, so no problem there. So I think it's just taken a little bit, you know, longer to find the right group. And I really want to give people a chance. You know, like if you think you could do it, come on, let's do it, you know?
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I tried.
So,
You know, we tried.
another kind of background information on this, we do not have any regulations that set what a attrition rate should be. So just so that the board does understand that, where we do have regulations that do put in place what the minimum is for NCLEX pass rate, we don't have a regulation in place that says this is what the maximum attrition could be.
I understand that, Lori, but I
Yeah.
would think that there would be a low attrition rate at a program that's really humming.
Yeah.
You know,
So
that's
what
really working.
So
Yeah,
they
what
try
I
to
would-
get into the community colleges. They can't. I always, if they tell me they want to go to, I say, go. It's much better. It's much more money, less money for you to go there, you know, but they can't get in. So then they come to us and they say, well, I'm willing to do this if I can get out in 2 years. And I'm like, okay, so let's do it, you know? And I think it's, of course, if they could get into a community college, a couple of $1,000, get in. I mean, I tell them that when they come, but they can't, and that's the problem. And so we're very lucky too. And I just want to say one thing about the faculty. I'd love to say this was all me. It's not. The faculty have been very consistent with us. I've had the same faculty for 8 years. And I have to tell you, it makes this place very successful because of it. And so yes, some people just can't do it. It's not the right time in their life. They have all kinds of things going on in their life. And some of that was, believe it or not, a little bit of COVID in there too. But you know, if they had it and their family got sick, I did take them back. You know, maybe they couldn't do it because they really went through so much, but I took them back and I said, come on, let's try it again, see if you can do it. You know, so it's, we're very student-centered here. And I really try to give them all a chance as much as we can. Yeah.
So the other things that I wanted to address is that we do have the ability to look at retention rates based on the new Sunrise bill. And in that Sunrise bill, it says we can do licensing exam pass rate, graduations, and retention rates. So please definitely look at that. But I wanted to let the board know that we don't have a maximum set. What I can share with you is that our California community colleges have set in their standards that they will not grow any program that has an attrition rate that is greater than 16%. And that is consistent with all of the community colleges throughout the state. That was a number that they set. Again, that is not a BRN specific number, but may be something that you guys would consider. The other thing that I need to make sure that we point out when you're talking about attrition and taking in these students is that we look at 100% on-time pass rates, on-time attrition, where Title IV funding does time and a half. And so if this program is 2 years, we expect them to be enrolled and completed within 2 years. And that is the attrition number that is. And so those numbers are going to be higher than what you would see in a Title IV funding report. The Title IV funding report is time and a half. And so if it's a 2-year program, they would have to report completion rates within a 3-year program, 2 years and then an additional year, which is the half. And so those numbers are different. So I would hope that we're not trying to compare California attrition BRN program numbers to like a Title IV attrition numbers, because they will be different and they will be higher because of the way that we calculate them. So just to give some background on that. However, attrition is important, and the reason that we ask that to be added to the Sunrise is starting a school, completing a school means nothing if you don't pass the NCLEX. You have a degree or a started degree, and you have debt and time lost, and you have no way to recoup that without being licensed and employed in that area, which is why those numbers are key for the board to take into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. This is Mitchell First. I'm the president of the March for School Nursing, and I just wanted to chime in just for a couple of minutes listening to the discussion. First of all, I'm super excited that Executive Officer Melby brought up the Brightwood situation in San Diego. And we should also note that the March for School Nursing was very involved in the closure of Shepherd University. And we were able to take those two schools and all the students from those closed programs and really make them whole, get them over the finish line. And we even noted those incredible pass rates that we were able to achieve with students in that tough situation. So I applaud our institution for stepping up, stepping in, and help students get over the finish line, pass NCLEX, and become nurses. I'm super glad that Gloria talked about the Sharp-Grossmont situation, you guys, that I think Board Member Trujillo talked about. There was a lot of confusion around that, and we were certainly confused. And as you heard, we sat with them, with the other institution, and were able to work it out as we always would, because we never intend to displace any students, any rotations, and that type of thing. And that's exactly why we have put together, hopefully this new campus here in Citrus Heights, because number one, it was identified by the board to be an area that needs more nurses, and it's underserved. And number two, three of the EDP 18s coming from Adventist Health actually asked us to come and build a school there. So we were very involved with them, and they've actually asked us to come to the Sacramento area. In addition, I'd like the committee to note that there's not many ADN programs. I know we're talking about 10 different nursing schools, but you guys, the closest one that has an ADN program is Sacramento City College, which is 20 miles away. The other ones are like Butte Community College, that's 81 miles away. And Lasses Community College, which is 206 miles away. So even though you talk about there's other institutions, they're not close to this, providing ADN level of education. And so for all of those reasons, we have decided to come to Citrus Heights. In addition, I know you were talking about, our other campuses and that type of thing. You guys, we have a proven track record of a wonderful institution that follows the regulation. We don't blur the lines of the regulation. We follow the regulation and follow the rules. And so, for all of those reasons that I've shared with you today, that's why it makes sense for the Marshall for School Nursing to come to Citrus Heights, and we're very glad to do so. I'm a little disappointed, I have to say, EO Melby, that you're talking about. We got caught in this midstream of this because we've been working on this for so long, and I sure would appreciate that if the ELC can make a motion and take a vote, because we've been working on this for so many months and been guided by our NEC, to present the package that has been reviewed by this committee. So again, happy to answer any questions that you may have of me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mitchell. I can't change the law. I have to follow the law, and the law that is current in place is what we have to follow. I can't follow a previous law. So I understand your frustration. We hope that what Gloria has assured us that she can get this information to us by the next board meeting, And it would not delay your timeline at all if that information is received and the board votes to approve. This recommendation is a recommendation, and the board has to accept that recommendation and ratify it. So you would not be receiving an actual decision until May. And if Gloria is able to get that information and our board is able to hear this in May, there will be zero effect or delay on this process at all. It is up to whether or not that information can be received, and this packet is then deemed complete, because we do have to follow the law. I can't change the law or go back to an old law. I have to operate under the current law.
And of course, I'm not asking you to change the law at all. Of course, I'm not doing that. It's just that we were under the impression that we were put on the agenda because we had a complete package, and so that's certainly I'm sure you can understand our a little confusion with this new development.
So do we defer this and not even recommend a motion?
So as Reza had previously stated, you could do this a couple different ways. You could recommend acceptance. If you choose to recommend acceptance pending the receipt of this information, or you could defer taking any action until you receive that receipt of the information, have a chance to review it, etc. So those are the options as put forward by Reza, saying that you could make a motion of what you would do pending the receipt of the complete information and review.
So in that situation, if we were to defer, Lori, we would defer to the board meeting in May.
You would defer to the board meeting in May, which you would refer to the board meeting in May, which would be the same thing either way. And then provide the requirement that the school provide that information of working with the academic institutions in that area to provide proof of that and what was done. Yeah, so referring or deferring, recommending or deferring, it's going to be the same. Everything goes forward to May. The requirements you lay out is going to be the same. And then it looks like the board meeting in May, if everything is received, would be when this would be determined without this specific recommendation, unless you make the recommendation to approve pending the receipt and review of that information.
I'd be more comfortable actually reviewing the information before we motion to approve.
I agree. I think it'll be cleaner that way. So would I say the motion would be to defer and place this to an agenda in May for the full board meeting? Or should I read it out the way it is here and just say defer?
Well, it would be pending the information that is missing right now, so we'd have to add that in also.
So you would not state anything that's on this slide that is suggested language for recommended or do not recommend. So sample language would be defer making a motion on this agenda item pending the information that has been requested by this committee to be presented at the board. And so you would defer to the May board meeting for recommendation.
Thank you.
And Reza can wordsmith that much better than me.
I think that you can, the end outcome is going to be the same, but it depends on just kind of how you want it to be really, reflected in the minutes. I think one option is to simply not make a motion, which would mean you didn't take any action today, and it would get put on the board agenda if they accomplish what needs to be done. The other option is to go ahead and make a motion to defer taking action on this until the board meeting.
And do we vote on that? If I say we would like to defer to May's board meeting, do we vote on that?
That's the action that you're taking. So you would need a first and second. We would still go out to public comment, and then we would still have to come back and do a vote.
Okay, perfect. I would like to make a motion to defer and place 8.6.2 on the agenda for the full board meeting in May. Do I have a second?
Win seconds.
Thank you. BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comment. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment."
There are no requests for public comment in Sacramento.
Thank you. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments. Oh, I'm sorry, one got in there. Malik King would like to make a comment. 1 second, please. Malik, if you're on your phone, I believe it's, oh, you got it.
Heard?
There you go, go for it.
Excellent. Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to say thank you all for what you guys do towards the greatest well-being for the most amount of people. I was actually one of the students who had graduated from Brighton Wood. As you guys had mentioned, it was absorbed from another school. When I first attended, it was actually called Kaplan, and then it was absorbed by Brighton Wood. And I didn't know what happened afterwards, but now that I do know, thank you for helping out the students who were in the midst of that, as I was. I know it could be very stressful. I'm currently here in San Diego studying for the RN exam once again. And I just want to say thank you all for what you guys do. It's truly appreciated.
Thank you for your comment. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. There are no public requests for comments in Sacramento. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes.
Jovita?
Yes.
Could I ask a question? I just want to clarify the motion, if you don't mind. It's to defer to the May board meeting pending the information that you requested, the ELC requested, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
No, thank you for clarifying. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. Mary Fagan?
Mary Fagan, yes.
Dolores Trujillo?
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Trisha Wynn?
Win, yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item 8.6.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Gloria. Thanks, everybody. From Marcia first. Discussion and possible action regarding acceptance of a substantive change to an approved program, Loma Linda University Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program and their entry-level Master's Nursing Program. So they're asking for an enrollment increase. Information on this program can be found starting on page 77 of the packet. And board moderator, would you please elevate the presenters on the list for Loma Linda? Okay, so Loma Linda has a baccalaureate degree and an entry-level master's degree pre-licensure nursing programs, and they're looking for an enrollment increase. And if you see their information in their executive summary, they have a nice table that really helped me understand what they're trying to do. They currently have 4 different times when they admit, or 3 different times that they admit, but different tracks of students during their winter quarter. So you can see the difference there. And really the bottom line is they're going to increase their student enrollment from 210 students annually to 300 students annually. And that will happen with 30 more students in the fall and 30 more students in the spring and 30 more students in the winter. The agenda item summary, they're in Region 7. And so their data sheet is there and their program response is between pages 77 and 84. And I think the one key thing about Loma Linda that is different from most programs is that they have their own hospital. So the fact that they have their own hospital where they get support for all their clinicals puts them in a unique situation, even though they are in Southern California. Their representatives are here. Should you have any questions, thank you.
Trisha, you're muted.
Oh my gosh, 4 years in and we still forget to unmute. Thank you. I have a question for you, Marianne. I mean, I think it's great they have their own hospital and they can do their clinicals there, but can they do every single clinical rotation for every single student within that hospital, or do they, do they have to go out into the community a little bit?
Well, I'm going to defer to Sean who's the program director for the main part of it, but I think so. But he's the expert, or they're the experts. So,
thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for having us here today. We appreciate the time you guys take to do all this. We actually have 6 hospitals. So we have the medical center, which is a level 1 teaching hospital with, they even have, I think, 800 residents. So I mean, it's a very large referral facility that is the place that most of our students get most of their clinicals. But we also have 3 other hospitals very close by, as well as a psychiatric facility close by that's an inpatient psychiatric hospital. And then we have Loma Linda Murrieta, which is about an hour south of here, where most of our entry-level master students get all of their clinical training.
Thank you for clarifying that, because I always think about it as Loma Linda, like one place, but you're right. It's kind of a system, right? It's your Loma Linda medical system.
Right. So really, yes, the answer is yes. We can get all of our clinical sites
within your system, your own private system. Right. Thank you. Does that help, Tricia?
Yes, it sure does. Thank you very much.
Any other questions from the board, from the committee? I'd like to make a motion to recommend acceptance of the substantive change requested by an approved program and approve the enrollment increase for Loma Linda University baccalaureate and entry-level master's degree nursing program with an enrollment pattern of 100 students 3 times a year, which would mean 300 students annually. And this is an increase of 90 students with the same enrollment pattern. Do I have a second?
I can second. This is Dolores.
Thank you, Dolores. BRN moderator, can we take it to public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment."
There is no request for public comment in Sacramento.
Thank you. Sana, would you like to make a comment? 1 second, please. Sana, go ahead and unmute yourself if you would like to make a comment.
I'm sorry, I just I clicked on the unmute self. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, go ahead.
I just was concerned about like clinical sites in that area with, despite all the hospitals of Loma Linda, I still see them using other facilities in the area.
Would you like me to address that?
Yes, please.
Yes. So as I understand it, the undergraduate, I mean, certainly on the graduate side, we definitely use other hospitals outside the system. Undergraduate is not so much. I know that Redlands Community Hospital in particular has asked us to bring our students there, mainly because they want it as a tool to recruit our students as employees. And I know that at Arrowhead Regional that our anesthesia students are there, but again, that's on the graduate side. It's not so much on the undergraduate side.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you for your comment. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no other public requests for comments on the WebEx. There's no public requests for comments in Sacramento. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. Mary Fagan?
Mary Fagan, yes.
Dolores Trujillo?
Dolores Trujillo, yes.
And Trisha Wynn?
Wynn, yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Agenda item 8.6.4. This is the discussion and possible action regarding acceptance of a substantive change to an approved program. This is Mount San Jacinto Associate Degree Nursing Program, and they're asking for an enrollment increase. Before I move forward, I want to bring your attention to a correction on the agenda item summary, and it's down toward the end where the cost of the program is. It says, I think it says like $80,000 or $81,000. That is incorrect. It is $7,800, and I apologize for that. And thank you so much to Mount San Jacinto for bringing that to our attention so that I could bring that to your attention prior to somebody thinking that an associate degree nursing program is charging $81,000. So please note, it's only $7,800. Okay. And the information on this program can be found in your packet starting on page 85. And board moderator, would you please elevate the presenters on the list for Mount San Jacinto? Okay, so this program is requesting an enrollment increase of an additional 24 students annually. The program currently admits 48 students one time a year in the fall, and they're requesting to change their enrollment pattern to 36 students twice a year. This will increase the enrollment from 48 to 72 students annually. This program is in Region 7, and so the agenda item summary, the data for Region 7, and the program responses are starting on page 77 through 92, and they include all the details about their request, the region, and their information that they shared with us. The program representatives are here should you have any questions. Thank you.
Any committee members have questions for them?
Well, I would like to hear from the program about how they anticipate moving forward with more students in a heavily, impacted area.
Certainly. This is Joyce Johnson representing Mount San Jacinto College ADM program, and to Chairperson Dominguez and the committee members, thank you for having us here. I will say currently with our enrollment patterns, we have the capacity to increase our enrollments. We are currently with our enrollment patterns, we have opportunities with our clinical facilities that we don't use them consistently because our numbers are from fall to spring are different. So we have the commitment of our clinical sites to support us with the increase, also with our academic educational programs around us. We are part of the Inland Empire Healthcare Advisory, in which our academic programs as well as our clinical sites are a part of. And so we have ongoing discussion about the robust need for additional nursing and the opportunity and support of Mount San Jacinto College to provide this. And so in addition to that, all of our academic programs in the Inland Empire have what's called clinical placement coordinators who meet on a regular basis to ensure that we're not impacting each other with clinical sites and facilities. And having that, in addition to being part of the monthly advisory meetings, ensure us that we are able to accommodate the increase without impacting other education entities or really without even causing an impact within our clinical sites. This was a request of our clinical facilities to look at increasing our program. And with our enrollment patterns now and only asking for an additional 24, we have the resources, we have the commitment to ensure that we can commit to this.
You know, it's just surprising to me that I read that you said you're only using 14 of 19 clinical affiliation agreements, that there's ample space, because we're not hearing that in so many other situations. So, I mean, that's been the holy grail of this committee, is trying to know what are the facts here, right? And they wouldn't be required to have the same letter was that only for a new program for what we were talking about for Samuel Merritt? Is that correct, Lori? Is that?
Yeah, so new campus, any new campus or any new program has to follow the EDP I-01, which does that. When we're looking at straight enrollment increases, we have to refer back to the Business Professions Code that specifically outlines what the board can consider for enrollment increase. The one thing with Mount San Jacinto is they're in Riverside County in California. We've been growing that, but we haven't heard the level of impaction again, like we would typically hear from LA, Irvine, Orange County, San Diego. So even though we're growing and we're starting to hear, and I believe the Riverside Community College director was on a previous meeting probably about a year ago, and they were saying they're starting to feel an impact. And so I think that's always something to look at, but I don't believe that it's fully there yet. And that is because we have grown leaps and bounds in Riverside area. When you look at the numbers over the last 6 years, what the board has done to increase enrollments in that area. So I think things will change, but I don't think that they're at that level of impaction yet that causes grave concern.
Thank you, Lori. Any other questions or concerns?
No.
I'd like to recommend acceptance of the substantive change requested by an approved program and approve the enrollment increase for Mount San Jacinto Associate Degree Nursing Program with an enrollment pattern of 36 students twice a year, total 72 students annually. This is an increase of 24 students and changes their enrollment pattern from once a year to twice a year. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Dolores.
Yeah, I thought I heard Dolores. Thank you very much for the support. BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment."
There is no request for public comment in Sacramento.
Thank you. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments in the WebEx. There are no public requests for comments in Sacramento. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you. I'd like to take it to a vote. Jovita Dominguez votes yes. Mary Fagan?
Mary Fagan, yes.
Dolores Trujillo?
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Thank you. And Tricia Nguyen?
Nguyen, yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Agenda item 8.6.5. Discussion and possible action regarding acceptance of a substantive change to an approved program. This is Monterey Peninsula Associate Degree Nursing Program, and they're requesting an enrollment increase. The information on this program can be found starting on page 93. And board moderator, would you please elevate the presenters on the list for Monterey Peninsula? So Monterey Peninsula currently admits 2 cohorts per year that run concurrently each fall. The program currently enrolls 40 students per cohort, making the annual enrollment 80 students per year. The program is requesting an enrollment increase of 16 students per year, which is 8 per cohort. This will bring their annual enrollment from 80 students to 96 students annually. Their agenda item summary starts on page 93. They are in Region 5 as far as their data goes, and that information and the program responses start on page 94, between 94 and page 100. Representatives from the school are here to answer your questions. Thank you.
I would just like to make a comment. I would like to commend them for their excellent NCLEX scores, low attrition rates. I know the Marina area isn't very impacted yet, so they can easily sustain this enrollment increase. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
I have a quick comment. I'm wondering when the program representatives speak, if they could just, I agree, NCLEX scores are awesome and attrition rate is great, except 22, 23. A huge jump, and I'm just wondering what happened there. But I agree, this is not a heavily impacted area, and I'm generally supportive of this recommendation.
Thanks, Lynn, for addressing this.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for having me. My name is Lynn Craiglin. I'm the director of the nursing program here. And yes, we are thrilled with our NCLEX pass rates. We work really hard to get our students ready, both to be good nurses and also pass that their licensure examination. The date that you mentioned where we had a jump in our attrition rate, it coincided with kind of a pilot program that we tried to do with some LVN students. It was, we were doing another increase in enrollment we had approval back in 2021. And so to get our numbers up in the spring semester, because we just start in the fall, we decided to take a cohort of LVN students. And unfortunately that we didn't have a very good plan to support them as well as we should have. And out of the 7 that we took, 3 were not successful. And so that makes for a big percentage when you have such a small cohort. But we did learn a lot of lessons from then and have made changes to our LVN advanced placement pathway to try and emphasize support of those students, many of which who do need to work still and attend school. So that was unfortunately, because if you looked at our attrition for our generic students, it was well within our normal range.
Great, thanks very much. That's helpful.
Any other members have questions? I'd like to take it to a motion to recommend acceptance of the substantive change requested by an approved program and approve the enrollment increase of Monterey Peninsula Associate Degree Nursing Program with an enrollment pattern of 48 students twice a year, 96 students annually. This is an increase of 16 students with the same enrollment pattern. Do I have a second?
I'll second that. It's Mary.
Thank you, Mary. BRN moderator, would you please take us to public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in the request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comment. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment."
As we're waiting on public comment, I do have a question, Lynn. Is this request part of the Community Colleges Chancellor's Office Enrollment Growth Initiative?
Not officially, no. I mean the pilot program that they're looking at, or
no, the letter of intent that was released last year that designated community colleges to either increase or retain based on their recommendations and then budget?
So it was kind of bad timing for us because we had just done an enrollment increase the year before, and we knew we weren't ready to do another one. We've been trying to do it sort of in a stepwise, make sure that we keep our good outcomes as we increase. And so we're doing that this year. It wasn't in response. We always had planned to do another enrollment increase because there is demand still in our communities for more nursing graduates. But if we get this approval, then we will. We are in the growth group for that grant, and we will apply for that.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. Do we have any public requests for comments in Sacramento?
There's no request for public comment in Sacramento. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. Mary Fagan?
Mary Fagan, yes.
Dolores Trujillo?
Dolores Trujillo, yes.
And Tricia Nguyen?
Nguyen, yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Agenda item 8.6.6. Discussion and possible action regarding acceptance of substantive changes to an approved program. This is Las Madonnas Associate Degree Nursing Program, and they are also requesting an enrollment increase. Information on this program can be found starting on page 101 of your packet, and board moderator, please elevate the presenters for Las Madonnas. So Las Madonnas is requesting an enrollment increase of 8 students. They want to go from 40 to 48 students annually. This is in alignment with the letter of intent for Associate Degree Nursing Program, Degree Nursing Registered Nursing Programs fiscal year 2023-24, which specifies for new funding model for a 2-year nursing grants that are involved with retention and growth that was released from the Chancellor's Office 5/23/23. The agenda item summary, the data, they're in Region 3, and their response is between 101 and 108. And that includes details around this request. Thank you.
Any committee members have questions?
Well, I mean, I have the same question that we ask of everybody. I think this is a very modest increase, and it sounds like you have a plan, but if you could just assure us that you're not going to be displacing students from other programs, we'd probably all sleep a little bit easier tonight.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for having us here. So definitely, I did my due diligence to go ahead and communicate with the nursing program schools around the vicinity. That includes Contra Costa College, Unitec College, Gurney College, California State University of the East Bay, and the College of Marin. All 5 colleges have been informed of the plans for the enrollment growth here at Las Madonnas College, and we discussed any risk of clinical displacements. All schools have expressed that there will be no displacements that will occur. The only one that we have similar placement with, which is Kaiser Antioch, would be with Unitec Concord. And I've spoken with Ms. Joellen Sutterfield and Ms. Janet Stotts, and we actually have made an arrangement wherein, because their school continues on during the summer and winter break, wherein Las Madonnas College actually has a break during summer and winter break. So they will utilize Kaiser Antioch during the summer and winter break. So it does not clash with the clinical placements with our students.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question too. It says that the increase is going to be for your LVN to RN admissions and not your generic students.
Yes.
Do the LVN to RN have the same clinical requirements as generic students, or are they somewhat different based on the previous experience that LVNs have had?
Their clinical requirements is with Med-Surg is the same, except the VN to RN students, they joined the third semester RN students. So like I said, the Med-Surg is the same, but they do have pediatrics and psych clinical in addition to the Med-Surg.
So it's a little bit less clinical need since they joined the second year as a composer.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. That's good to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That makes sense too.
Yes.
Any other questions?
No.
I'd like to motion to recommend acceptance of the substantive change requested by an approved program and approve the enrollment increase for Los Medanos Associate Degree Nursing Program with an enrollment pattern 48 students annually. This is an increase of 8 students with the same enrollment pattern. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Was that Dolores?
I was one. I don't know who the second person was.
I think
Let's take Dolores. Here we
Thank
go.
you. I heard her too. Thank you. Then BRN moderator, please take us to public comment.
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in the request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will unmute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment."
There is no request for public comment in Sacramento.
Thank you. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. There are no public requests for comments in Sacramento. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you. I'd like to take it to a vote. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. Mary Fagan?
Mary Fagan, yes.
Dolores Trujillo?
Dolores Trujillo, yes.
Tricia Nguyen?
Nguyen, yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Agenda item 8.6.7. Discussion and possible action regarding the acceptance of a substantive change to an approved program. College of Marin, Associate Degree Nursing Program. They are requesting an enrollment increase. Information on this program can be found in your packet starting on page 109. And board moderator, would you please elevate the presenters on the list for College of Marin. College of Marin is asking for an enrollment increase of 9 students. They want to go from 43 to 52 students annually. And again, they are doing this request in alignment with the Chancellor's Office Retention and Growth that was released in May of 2023. They're in Region 3. Their agenda item summary, their regional data, and the program response is between 109 and 116. And they also have representatives here. Should you have any questions? Thank you.
Committee members, any questions? Sounds like maybe we can take it to.
I think, sorry, Tricia.
I'm sorry. I did it again. I'll just ask the same question I've been asking again. I understand this is a very modest increase and in alignment with what's going on at community colleges, but maybe the program representative could tell us how they will be avoiding interfering with other students from other colleges.
Thanks, Alicia.
Hi, thank you for having me here. I'm happy to answer that question. I've discussed it with other program directors in the area. We're very fortunate that we're in Southern Marin. We can be very flexible in how we place our students. We can access facilities in the East Bay, go to San Francisco, Of course, outside of Marin itself, which is rich with facilities, we can also go north. I've been discussing it with the advisory committees in the area. We currently enjoy contracts with 30 facilities, and we've been approached by 3 more facilities who have invited us to send students because there's such a desperate need for nurses in the area. So while I never take our placements for granted, we're confident that we'll be able to place our students with some flexibility and good communication.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other members? Then I'd like to take it to a motion to recommend acceptance of the substantive change requested by an approved program and approve the enrollment increase for College of Marin Associate Degree Nursing Program with an enrollment pattern. 52 students annually. This is an increase of 9 students with the same enrollment pattern. Do I have a second?
Wynn seconds.
Thank you. Board moderator, would you take us to public comment? Thank you. Comment. Thank you. Please.
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment."
There is no request for public comment in Sacramento.
Thank you. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. There are no public requests for comments in Sacramento. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. I'd like to take it to a vote. I hope Dominguez votes yes. Mary Fagan?
Mary Fagan, yes.
Dolores Trujillo?
Dolores Trujillo, yes.
Trisha Wynn?
Wynn, yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Agenda item 8.6.8, discussion and possible action regarding the acceptance of a substantive change to an approved program. This is College of Redwood of the Redwoods Associate Degree Nursing Program. Information on this program can be found starting on page 117 of your packet. Board moderator, would you please elevate the presenters on the list for College of the Redwoods? So College of the Redwoods is requesting an enrollment increase, and there's going to be 2 requests when we get to that, because they have 2 campuses that they're asking for an increase on. One is their Eureka campus, and the other is their Del Norte campus. So the school is requesting 60 students annually in the fall and 20 students in the spring. So 80 students annually total at the Eureka campus. This will be an increase of 26 students. And they have different parts. They call them career mobility students. It's like our advanced placement students. They are advanced placement students, but that's the terminology they use. So 16 career mobilities in the fall and 10 career mobilities accepted in the spring. And that's for the Eureka campus. And then for the Del Norte campus, and again, I will read these again for you when we split them up, but they are asking for 20 students annually in the spring at their Del Norte campus. And this is an increase of 10 of their career mobility or advanced placement students with the same enrollment pattern. Representatives are here. There's also data. They're in Region 2. So of course we have their data and their program response on page 117 to 124, and they're here for any questions you may have. Thank you.
And then just to clarify why they call it career mobility, The other programs do LVN to RN only, and this program enrolls LVNs and paramedics to then allow them to step up for their RN. So it's not just an LVN to RN because the paramedics do not have an LVN license, but it allows them to participate in the career mobility track.
Thank you, Lori.
Any members have questions?
Well, when the school presents, I hope they'll just address, clinical placements like we've asked other schools.
Sure, and they'll always present if you ask them.
Thank you. Thank
Sure.
you.
Jessica?
Hi, thank you for having me. So, and I appreciate that question. We're in a unique situation here, I think, from other schools in California, in that we are in truly far Northern California. So we really wouldn't be impacting any programs. The nearest programs to us are approximately 200 miles away in that radius. So we have ample clinical sites. We have never lost any clinical sites, even through the pandemic. So we were unique in that. And we continue to develop more clinical sites. And like many of the programs you've heard from today, have had multiple agencies contact us to please send them students and how can they help us and how can they get approved. So we have ample clinical sites and would not be impacting any other programs.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Any other members have questions? Then I'd like to take it to a motion to recommend acceptance of the substantive change requested by an approved program and approve the enrollment increase for College of Redwoods Associate Degree in Nursing Program at the Del Norte campus, and the enrollment pattern of 20 students annually in spring, 20 students annually at the Del Norte campus. This is an increase of 10 career mobility students with the same enrollment pattern. Do I have a second?
This is Mary. I'll second.
Thank you, Mary. BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment, please?
Jovita, would you like to do both of these first? Both campuses before we go to public comment?
Yes,
Board moderator, would you go back to possible motion number 1? This is number 2. Can you go back one more to motion number 1? Thank you very much.
So then we would add to that motion to recommend acceptance of a substantive change requested by an approved program and approve the enrollment increase for College of the Redwoods Associate Degree in Nursing Program at the Eureka campus with an enrollment pattern of 60 students annually in the fall and 20 students in the spring, 80 students annually at the Eureka campus. This is an increase of 26 students with 16 career mobility students accepted in the fall and 10 career mobility students accepted in the spring. Do I have a second with that?
This is Mary. I'll second.
Thank you very much, Mary. BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in the request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you, nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Kimberly Dunker would like to make a comment. 1 second, please.
Of nursing at Pacific Union College, and I see that Pacific Union College enrollment increase has been referenced here in this in the meeting materials, and I know that the question has been asked about clinical sites, and I just would like some more clarification of where the clinical sites would be and where you have agreements that there are actual sites there, because with our current enrollment increase, we are up in that area, the Mendo Coast, and we are hearing, and we're there on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, that Mendocino College is there Monday through Thursday, and we are already talking about impact factors with nurses, burnout. They are already dreading the preceptorships next spring. And we're really trying to just kind of work through some of those things. And we have added 18 students last year to that, last fall to the cohort, and just looking at that pattern. So I would just like to know if you could clarify where those clinical spots are, because we're living that experience, and I'm working really closely with the director at Mendocino College. In fact, I was with her this morning at a discussion about the need for nurses and these rural areas, and I think it's just so important. But I'm living it on the ground with the nurses in the hospital, and it is a challenge. And we're on these off shifts, and they're talking night shifts and all these other things. So can you address that a little bit more, because I have some concerns in this area. Maybe it's a different area and different hospitals you're looking at, though. Thank you.
Hi, I can happily address that. So Mendocino is actually south of us, approximately an hour and a half south drive from us. And so the clinical sites that we're using, we have 4 critical care hospitals here, 2 in the Providence system, 1 in the Sutter system, and 1 that is privately owned. And again, we don't have any colleges anywhere near us. I would say, like I said, nearest to us are like Santa Rosa, which is 216 miles south of us. Shasta's a little bit closer, but that's 150 miles to the east. So we don't have any nursing colleges or programs utilizing any of our current clinical sites. And we have many, many others for in the community, clinics, the jails. Actually, we just finished a affiliation agreement with Pelican Bay State Prison as well. So we have lots and lots of clinical sites, like I said, that we're not impacting any programs, nor any programs up here besides ours currently. We do have a...
Thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome. We do have a BSN program up here through Cal Poly Humboldt. And they utilize community sites that we don't utilize. So we're in constant communication with them in order to not impact them. We don't have community per se rotations. It's part of their program, not ours. So.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you for your comment. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no other public requests for comments on the WebEx. Do we have any public requests for comments in Sacramento?
I thought Matt came on to say that
there is no request for public comment in Sacramento.
Thank you. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. And I'd like to thank the college, especially when I don't know the area, and it helps us out. Thank you. I appreciate that. I like to. Yes.
Could I ask a question really quickly?
Yes.
Lori and Reza, would we like to take these as 2 separate votes for each campus, or do you just want to do one total that includes both?
When they do roll call, they could say that they agree to motion 1 and 2, or disagree to motion 1 and 2.
Thank you.
Thank you. I, Jovita Dominguez, for motion 1 and 2, say yes. Mary Fagan?
I vote yes for both motions.
Thank you. Dolores Trujillo?
I also vote yes for both motions.
Trisha Wynn?
I also vote yes for both motions.
Both motions carry. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Agenda 8.7, if you remember, was taken this morning. That was UMass Global. So we're going to go on to agenda item 8.8. And this is the discussion and possible action regarding an initial self-study for a new pre-licensure nursing program, California North State University Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program. Information on this program can be found starting on page 135 of your packet. And board moderator, if you could please elevate the presenters on the list for University of Massachusetts. I'm sorry, for California North State University. Okay, California North State University submitted a feasibility study for a new baccalaureate degree nursing program at the existing Rancho Cordova campus in Northern California on November 15th of 2023. It was accepted and approved by the board at that time. The program is here today seeking approval of the second part of a new program, which is their initial self-study. The program is requesting an enrollment pattern of 30 students 3 times a year for 90 students annually. The agenda item summary, their data information, and their response is on pages 135 to 143, including all their details, and their program representatives are here to answer any questions.
And then just for clarification for board members and stakeholders, this feasibility was already approved in November as stated, and that is where you guys looked at the impact on community, addressed clinical placements, et cetera, and that was accepted. So this is the second part of that where they are showing that they're in compliance with all boards, rules, and regulations as outlined. Once they get this approval, if that is what our board chooses to do next month, they can enroll students.
Any members have questions about it?
I would like to hear from the program. I am curious about the clinical placements and where I see that they are looking at a hospital that I don't think has been built yet. Innovation Park Medical Center, which is planning to be located in the Nacogdoches area of Sacramento. But they are planning to, are they planning to take students in August of this year? So I would like to hear from the program.
Thanks, Angela.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So yes, I would like to answer your questions and concerns. This BSN program is a direct entry program. So taking students in August of this year would take students into their general education courses. And this campus has been well established in the College of Health Sciences for the pre-med, pre-pharmacy students. So the faculty, the labs, everything is there for all of the general education. So, so that part is good to go. You asked about the hospital, Innovation Park Medical Center, which will be part of the teaching hospital complex of services through California North State. We're in the finalizing process, and hopefully we'll break ground by the end of the summer. And then, of course, construction will be, as soon as possible. So down the road, there will be a place to put the North State students in the North State Hospital, and potentially even take students from other programs. In planning for clinical placements, I have worked very directly with many of the services and delivery systems within the greater Sacramento area. We've had good relationships and good dialogue going, and when eligible, of course, I'll participate in the consortium and SICANE and continue that dialogue. Also, our students will be available for weekends and evenings if that's where the opportunity lies with some of our clinical partners. Did I answer all of your questions?
Pretty much. I just, a new hospital is probably approximately over a year to 2 years out. Do you have any other clinical space?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. We're not going to, the hospital will not be ready by the first cohort of students ready for their first clinical, offsite clinical. So yes, we do have, we have several EDP 18s within our package. So yes, we have places for them in the other major systems within the Sacramento area. We also do plan to put our pediatric students in school settings. And we have a school district, which is actually the district in which this campus is located. that has 22,000 students and 20 full-time RNs. And they are delighted to think that we can put students out in pediatric settings within the school system. So we're well prepared to have clinical placements before the hospital is ready.
Do you have any thoughts about pediatric placement within hospitals?
If that opportunity arises, yes, we would do that as well.
Okay.
That is one of those, the acute care peds is very impacted. But I also think that there's also a great shortage of school nurses, and to have a school nurse experience while a student is in a BSN program, I think may also open their eyes to a potential nursing career within as a school nurse.
Just so board members are aware, there is no requirement for any of our clinical placements to be completed in a acute care hospital setting.
That's very true.
So I hope that does not, yeah, definitely. I understand that completely. I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that it was not breaking a law, that they did not have any type of inpatient pediatric experience.
Yeah, but I appreciate your questions and an opportunity to speak on behalf of our program.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I'd like to take it to a motion to recommend acceptance of the initial self-study to grant initial approval of the new pre-licensure program requested by the California North State University Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program with an enrollment pattern of 30 students 3 times a year, which would be 90 students annually. Do I have a second?
Win seconds.
Thank you. BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment."
There is no request for public comment in Sacramento.
Thank you. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx, as there are no public requests for comments in Sacramento. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to take it to a vote. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. Mary Fagan?
Mary Fagan, yes.
Dolores Trujillo?
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Trisha Wynn?
Win, yes.
Motion carries. I believe that takes us to 8.9. Yes? Oh, I thought there was a question. 8.9, which is adjournment. Good job, everybody.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll see everybody in May.
In a month. Thank
Sounds
you.
good.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good job.
Good afternoon.